Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is Create Your Own Cozy. On this week's video, I'm going to work on 5 thrifted items that I thrifted and I'm going to flip to either resell in my booth or use in my own home. Hopefully to resell in my booth. If you want to see how they turned out, stick around.
Let's get started on the first project. This was a sample cabinet door that somebody used to show like a different color of stain on, and I got it at the thrift store and thought this would be such a great backdrop. But as I got to cleaning it up and I painted it, I really didn't know what it was going to turn out to be. So I just focused on doing like I was painting a cabinet. So I'm using my handy dandy farmhouse paint in the color white ash and putting the first coat on here. You'll see it looks bad. That's okay. You're not going to leave it like this. I know a lot of people like panic and quit at this spot, but this is just the base coat and it gets stuff sticking and is a necessary step. So after I do the first coat, let it dry, not even 30 minutes. I'm just working on something else in the meantime. I go ahead and if there's any areas that need to be sanded, you can sand in between these coats. Now this particular paint has a top coat built in, so no sealing is technically required on top of it, but you can see, look at the difference. This is the second coat. The coverage is so much better, and I'm going to end up doing around 3.5 coats on this just because we're taking it from an ebony black to a white. There's going to be a lot more required. Now after the second coat, I am going to wash out the brush and not let the brush dry out all the way, and then use that wet brush back in the paint so that it is a more watered down coat on the third coat. And this is all water soluble paint, which is what most of the paints are out there. You can kind of turn it into more of a wash with this nice milky finish to kind of get a smoother finish on the top. Something that a lot of people forget is you can grab 220 grit sandpaper and sand in between coats. I like to make sure it is smooth to the touch. I'm such a tactile person, so I sand it and make sure it's smooth to the touch in between, and that is how you can get a nice finish. Now this paint right here and a lot of the paints you could use on cabinets and furniture. And you can see how it would take a long time and why it would cost so much money to have someone do your cabinets, because you're going to need 3+ solid coats along with sanding. But man, it is such a transformation, and it's a lot cheaper than buying a new set of cabinets. So here's a good example from a cabinet door sample, how you can go from an ebony black to this nice off-white color. Now I do end up in the end sanding it down with a 220 grit and then pushing a little harder on the edges because I wanted to show some distressing to show all the molding and the different textures of this particular piece. Now you can see that Stinker here is still upset by the sound of sanding, but when I tried to give him the sandpaper, he did nothing. But he does not like the sound of sanding. Well, anyway, back to work. I sat this piece on my table for like 3 days and kept bringing over different things to try to decide like what to do with it. It's such a small center, but I know it could be a really fun like little wall hanging piece. I had some spares for my IOD transfers. Okay, that could look nice. It's nice and simple. But in the end, what I decided to do is use my kindest regard stamp, use a long, thin stamp that happens to come from the Queen Bee set of IOD stamps, and then this little metal bee that I got right after Easter, I got terracotta pots from Walmart really cheap. And I did something else with the terracotta pots and popped these little metal bees off of them. And I thought this would be a great way for it to stand out. What do you guys think? Project number 2 is something that I got at a garage sale, was labeled free. I thought it was a really cool pattern, but I didn't love the color scheme of it. So originally I was going to take this beige color and put it over it and then do a whitewash so that the white would go like in the crevices right here. But then as I'm painting and I'm doing like a dry brush, I see on the right, I really like how that looks. And I want to get in the center, I put the paint really down in the crevices. So I just washed it in the bathtub. That's the great thing about chalk paint. You can wash it off if it's not sealed. So now I'm just going back over it with, I decided to do white and just do a light dry brush technique where I'm not pushing too hard. I don't want it to go down in these crevices. I want it to brush over the top of it. And the fun part, it made it look, the finished product made it look more like a piece of wood that was whitewashed instead of this canvasy thing that I got on the side of the road. So considering this was free and it was good practice for me to try different techniques, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I've been selling risers in my booth and I need to make some more. So I grabbed these bases from my stash. I think I paid $1 each for the base. And then the wood rounds, I bought solid wood and I just did a white wax on them and had them laying around and available to make some risers. So I just painted the bases. This one was like a very shiny gold former candle holder probably. I wanted to kind of dull it down, so I just used white wax for this one, and you'll be able to see in a little bit the comparison between the original shine and with the white wax on it. And I am excited that for a little less than $2 I made 3 different risers to help stage some stuff in my booth and to put for sale. The fourth project, my last IOD bird platter sold. I did it with Apothecary. This thing I got, I believe, for $6.99 from the thrift store. I've been holding on to it. Look, somebody just did one coat of paint and quit and then brought it to the thrift store. They were so close. So I am going to go over it with my paint. I do around 3 coats because I want it to be like a really beautiful, smooth white finish that I sand down. And then this is still the same brocante transfer, getting that second set of IOD birds. The last platter I sold for $28, and I loved just having it in my booth. I thought it was very interesting for people to come check my booth out. So I wanted to add another one. I think I'm going to go a little higher on this one because this platter is a little bit bigger and it's white instead of Apothecary. I feel like maybe I could get 32, 34. We shall see. But I am glad to be making it again. Tempted to keep this in my own home because these beautiful birds are not in my home. But if I can sell it for a good price, let's get it in there. Project number 5 is this metal box that I got from the thrift store. I got it half off, so I paid $2.50 for it and figured it was worth giving a try for one of these metal boxes. First thing I did was hit it with the 2 times Rust-Oleum white spray paint just to get it covered, and then I ended up using this very dried out chalk paint from Walmart just to try to do a little bit different color. I've been doing white everything, and this is a beige. I know, like, such a big departure from white, but you know, you gotta do baby steps. So I did 1 coat with this and then realized that I needed to very much water this paint down. In the past, I would have thrown this out, but guys, all you have to do is add water to it. So I added water to this, let it soak a little bit and stir it up, and it became very much like a paint wash. And I probably made it a little runnier than I should have, but as long as you wipe off the drip marks. See, this is me stirring up my little paint wash and still getting great use out of this paint. And after I finished, I probably did 2.5 coats just to make sure, since it was such a thin layer, just to make sure it was covered. I did spray it with the clear Rust-Oleum to give it a nice top coat because this here is a chalk paint and it needs to be sealed before transfers are putting on. Just imagine like you have a chalkboard and then you erase it with an eraser. You know how there's that film of powder on the chalkboard? Well, that is on this top coat of paint, and so transfers are not going to want to stick to that unless you seal it with a top coat, and then transfers will easily stick to it. I am grabbing some IOD transfers. This was the Floral Anthology transfer, and these are just the spares where I did kind of like, those weren't complete flowers, but I put them on anyway, and I used some scraps to cover up the edges so it looked like a finished edge, as you will see. And then when I got to the end, I was like, this thing is missing something. And you know how I am with words. Like, I thought it could be really nice with the nice set of words up there, but like, what word would you use? And I was like, well, this is like a cash box. You don't want to put cash or money. So I thought bloom was a great way to refer to money if you are blooming. So that was a nice way for me to add some words to this with the typesetting IOD stamp set. What do you guys think of this one?
So what did you guys think? Did you guys have a favorite? That sample cabinet door like had me. I just finally finished it this morning before I wanted to finalize my video because I could not decide how I wanted it to turn out. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So let me know in the comments below which project was your favorite. And if you have not already subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell to all so you get a message every time I upload a new video. Now, today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is the last day of school and then summer's out. I mean, you know, I don't know why it surprises me every year how much the time just quickly goes away before the end of school. So I am about to have my kids with me all summer, so stay tuned for that. And then on Friday, we leave to go to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee area as a nice little family vacation with my in-laws right after school's out. So if you guys know of any good antique stores or thrift stores in the Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee area, please let me know in the comments below. I am wanting to get some thrifting and some antique shopping done while I'm on vacation because of course, like I love to do this kind of stuff even on vacation. And then the following week, I'm really excited about this. I am going to Creative Con with a bunch of other creatives in Jacksonville, Florida to get better at what I do and learn how I can network and be around other like-minded people to learn how to bring you guys some better content and just continue doing what I'm doing. So guys, thank you so much for your support. Also, In the Jacksonville area, if you have any thrift stores, specifically thrift stores, I would love to know, because I want to do some thrifting while I'm there, and I might have a fun video coming from that. Stay tuned. Guys, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.